Hello friends, today we are going to cover one of the hottest topic, IoT. So IoT, Internet of Things. In this video we are going to cover overview of IoT, so then usage of IoT cloud platforms, and then Azure IoT Hub. So in this video basically we are going to cover Azure IoT Hub. So we will see how we can create the Azure IoT Hub from the Azure portal. Then we will see the basic overview of IoT Hub, and then we will see the architecture of the IoT. Then we will see message routing. So what is this message routing and how we can configure for the IoT Hub. We will see what is C2D, device cloud to device, and D2C, device to cloud messages, and finally we will see one demo, IoT, Internet of Things. So if you go to the definition, it is about extending the power of the internet beyond computers and a smartphone to a whole range of other things, processes and environment. So we already know that our computers and a smartphone are already connected to the internet. We can access any information using our computers and a smartphone. So now the idea is to connect all other electronic devices to the internet. So we already have TV, fridge, AC, washing machine, television. Inside our houses, almost all houses have this type of electronic devices. So how IoT can help us in communicating these devices? So one device, if we are going to use IoT, one device can talk with another device. So this is the main benefit of IoT. So suppose we have one TV and one fan. So these two devices can communicate with each other using IoT. So this is the idea, so that one device can communicate with another device or any number of devices. So we have millions and billions of devices, and we want to connect all these devices through the internet. And what the benefit we will be getting? So based on the data received from these devices, we can predict what are the chances of failure or some alert type of notification from these devices. So you can say, like second point, any physical object can be transformed into an IoT device if it can be connected to the internet to be control or communicate information. So we have one AC inside our house. Okay, so we can transform that AC into an IoT device using some sensors or some gateway. Okay, so now that AC will become a smart device or IoT enabled AC. So because it can communicate with the internet, it's IoT enabled or smart devices. So the devices that can communicate with the internet are known as IoT devices. So we have AC inside our house, but if that AC can communicate with the internet, then it is IoT device, otherwise it is a general AC. So suppose currently you are working in your office and you forgot to turn off the AC that is running inside your home. So what will happen? It will unnecessarily impact your electricity bill. So if that AC is IoT enabled AC, then you can control that AC from anywhere in the world. So if you are sitting inside your office, then using your smartphone you can control your AC. You can start the AC, you can turn off the AC. So all operation, what you are doing it manually from your remote, you can control it from your smartphone from anywhere. So that is the one advantage. Another advantage is now it will send some information to the cloud. So based on the data that we received, we can predict some of the more meaningful information that will be helpful for AC for the servicing purpose. Same thing with IoT enabled water purifier. So a smart bulb also we can control it from our mobile phone, and same thing with fan. So these all are IoT devices. So these are basically general electronic devices, but we have added some extra capability so that it can communicate with the internet. So that all devices that can communicate with the internet are called IoT devices. So now I am going to cover one of the use case for IoT enabled devices. So let's start with water bottle. So almost all houses have water bottle. So there are some merits and demerits of using the water bottle. One demerit is like quality issue with this water bottle. So we are not sure about the quality of the water, what is the quality of the water that inside this bottle. So that is one issue. And second is like delivery or timely delivery or service issue. Suppose I need one bottle of water, so I will call my local vendor and they will deliver it. But when the demand is high, generally they will not deliver in 1 hour, 2 hour. Generally they take up to 1 day. So there is delivery issue or service issue with this water bottle. So when we need this water, chances are that we will not get it on time. And another is like cost is high. Every day we need to pay almost 30 to 50 rupees for this one bottle of water. So cost is also high. And advantage is like there is no installation cost, so we don't need any installation cost for this water bottle. So using this water bottle we face some issue. Then we move to the water purifier. So what is the advantage and disadvantage of this water purifier against this water bottle? So what benefit we are getting by switching from this water bottle to this water purifier? First is like quality issue now got resolved. So using this water purifier, quality issue got resolved. And second, like installation cost, that is high. So if you are going to install water purifier inside our house, we need to have a huge amount for the initial setup for this water purifier. That means almost 10 to 20,000 we required for the installation of this water purifier. And second issue, every 6 months we need the servicing for this, or maybe earlier also if some water quality is going to decrease or motor is not working, then we need to call the customer care and they will visit our house and they will provide the service, and for that we need to pay the some charges to them. So again maintenance charge is also there for this water purifier. So what are the main two demerits that we are going to face with this? First is like initial setup cost. Almost we are spending 10 to 20,000 for this water purifier. Again, for every 6 months or 3 months we need to pay to the company for the maintenance charge. So it's little bit costly. If you are going with general water purifier, so we need to have at least 10 to 20,000. But in the case of IoT enabled water purifier, there is no any installation cost and pay as you use. So suppose today I use 2 liter of water. Okay, I need to pay only for 2 liter of water. Day before yesterday I consumed 20 liter of water. I need to pay 20 liters. So it's totally based on pay as you go subscription and water use and cost tracking. So using a smartphone I can track how much water I have consumed and what is my bill for this month. So all things, and I can make payments online. All these things I can track it online, and no service issue. Why no service issue? We will see it in the later slide. So why there is no any service issue with IoT enabled water purifier? So we will see it in the later slides. So now start with cloud platform for IoT. So what all are the platforms that provide support for IoT? So first, almost Microsoft Azure IoT Hub. Apart from that, AWS, Amazon AWS also provide IoT Hub. ThingsWorks IoT platform, Google Cloud IoT Core, IBM also provides support for IBM Watson IoT. Cisco has a Cisco IoT Cloud Connect, Salesforce IoT Cloud, Ka IoT platform, Oracle IoT. So there are different vendors that provide IoT platform. So our main focus is on Microsoft Azure IoT Hub. This is the symbol of Azure IoT Hub. In the subsequent video, we are going to learn about Azure IoT Hub. So we are not going to learn AWS or ThingsWorks or Google or IBM. So we will focus basically on Azure IoT Hub. So what is Azure IoT Hub? So basically Azure IoT Hub is a collection of Microsoft managed cloud services that connect, monitor and control billions of IoT assets. So basically Azure IoT Hub is a PaaS service, platform as a service, that provides support and monitoring for all the IoT assets. So using this service we can connect and monitor all the IoT assets that are connected from our IoT Hub. A managed service hosted in the cloud that acts as a central message hub for bidirectional communication between your IoT application and the devices it manages. So basically it is a bidirectional communication. What do you mean by bidirectional? Bidirectional, that means we can send some message from the device to the IoT hub, and again IoT hub can also send some message to the device. So we will later look into what type of message device can send and what type of message IoT hub can send to the device. So IoT hub support communication from both the device to the cloud and cloud to the device. So basically it supports both type of communication, cloud to device and device to cloud. Now we are going to learn about the Azure IoT architecture. So you can see it here. So in the extreme left point we have some devices. So there can be different type of devices, and then device connectivity, so how this device will communicate to the cloud, and then we have insights and then action. So these all things we are seeing in this cloud. So these all components are inside the cloud. So let's start with this device component. Basically device communicate with some gateway. So this gateway can be on premises or in the Azure. So when we are talking about cloud gateway, then this is IoT hub. And if we are talking about on-premises gateway, so some devices are not capable enough to send directly data to the cloud. So in that scenario we place some on-premises gateway that we are calling it as field gateway. So see, this is IoT device, so it not capable enough to send the data directly to the cloud. So we are placing it here called field gateway. So it will collect all those data from the device and will pass that data to the IoT hub. And some devices are smart enough that they can directly communicate with the cloud gateway. So what cloud gateway we are using it here? That is IoT hub. In the device section we can say there can be basically two type of devices that can communicate with the cloud. So one device can directly communicate with the cloud, and another we can need some field gateway. So that will be on premises type of setup. And if the device is capable of directly communicating with the internet, so that is IP capable devices, so that can directly communicate with the IoT hub. So once the data is received from this device to the IoT hub, so this device is sending some data to the IoT hub, or it is sending some data using field gateway to the IoT hub. What is IoT hub? It is a cloud gateway. So now these devices are sending telemetry data to the IoT hub. So once we receive the data at the IoT hub, then there can be millions and billions of devices that are generating data to this IoT hub. So you can imagine the bulk of data we are getting from the devices. Suppose the device is sending data every 1 minute or 50 seconds, and there are millions of devices, then what will be the volume of data that we are getting per hour and per day. So based on that data we can generate some insights. So we can use different components to generate insight. We can use some function app to process the data, or can store in the Cosmos DB, or we can use some stream analytics to analyze the real-time data. So if this device is sending some data using stream analytics, we can do the real-time analysis of the data. So what this device is sending, what type of data, all data we can analyze using the stream analytics in a real-time manner. And similarly we can use the Power BI to generate the reports of the live data or historical data, and we can save the data in the storage always. So these all insight we are doing. So once the data is received with IoT hub, we are processing those all data, either it is real-time data or historical data we can process, and based on the processed data we can take some action. So what type of action we can take? We can trigger, suppose the data we are getting from the device, so we can do some analysis using MI technique, and based on that we can predict that after some time the device is going to failure. So in the advance we are aware that after some time this device will not work, so we can plan accordingly, and using logic app we can trigger some mail or notification to the customer. So this all about the IoT architecture. So now I think all you are clear with the architecture of Azure IoT. So how this Azure IoT works. So let's see what is C2D and D2C. First we will go with D2C. So this is our device. Okay, this is IoT enabled device. So it will send some of the data. Which type of data it will send? So basically there are different parameters that are required to run this water purifier. So it can be filter, it can be motor, its temperature. There are different, almost more than 100 parameters will be there. So it will collect all this information and will transmit all this information through the internet to the IoT hub. So this is called device to cloud. That means device is sending some information to our cloud. This is our cloud. So this is our cloud. Okay, so cloud, IoT hub, and all other Azure components that we are using are called clouds. So if the device is sending some information to the cloud, so it's called device to cloud communication. And just opposite, if the cloud is sending, this is our cloud. Okay, so if the cloud is sending some information back to the device, then it's called C2D, cloud to device message. So this device can send some information to the cloud, and this cloud can send some information back to the. So let's first start with this water purifier. So when we are talking about water purifier, so it can send what is the temperature, what is the motor status, what is the filter status. So inside that there will be one filter, so we can take the filter, and apart from there will be different components, so that are required to functional. So we can collect all these their parameters. There will be some fan inside the motor, so what is the speed of that fan. So there will be some sensors, so that sensor will collect all this information and will send it to the IoT hub. Okay, so here, so this here IoT hub get all this data from the device. It will send those all device to IoT hub, and from here we can have different applications. We can process that all data, and based on that, or we can use some AI or ML tools also to predict that the device is going to at the fault state or in alert mode, and inside the motor is running very fast or too slow, then there may be a issue with the motor and it may go into a faulty state after some times. This is our this is the vendor which provide this water purifier. It will send that information to the vendor that the fan is not working properly inside the customer. Suppose this is a C1 customer. So at C1 customer location, this water purifier has been installed. So now the company can see from their home or anywhere in the world that this purifier is not working properly, and they can send their engineers. Most of the thing he can control it remotely. So if they want to restart some of the component, they can do it remotely from here. Let me change the color. They can remotely do it from here. And this is the customer. So now the customer can track the usage, how many water he has consumed, what is the bill, how much bill he need to pay. All these information that are beneficial to the customer can track from his smartphone, and all those information that are required to function this water purifier smoothly can be collected by the company or vendor, and based on that he can take some decision. So this is the main advantage, that the company not need to go every time. So now the company will visit at the customer location only when there is a physical service visiting is required. We need to replace the filter. So the company can know that based on the consumption, so we need to replace the filter after 2 months or after 1 year, or the motor is not working. So based on that information, he will call to the customer that your water purifier may not function after 2 or 3 days, so it requires service, and we need to send your service, and based on the customer time the company can send the service engineer at the site to check for the further instruction. So this is the one benefit. Another, suppose there are some functionality that can be figured out remotely. So suppose the temperature inside the water purifier is too high, so it can be controlled from here also. He can set the temperature here and it will reflect it here. So here it will send it here and it will go through the IoT hub, and then IoT hub will send this information to the device. So this is another advantage. Now I am going to explain you about message routing. What is message routing? So this is our IoT device. It is sending some message to the IoT hub. So this device is sending some message to the IoT hub. Now we can have different endpoint through which we can send, IoT hub can send these messages to different endpoints. So suppose one message is coming and there can be one built-in endpoint and custom endpoint. Routing is basically rules to filter the message. So suppose this IoT hub is receiving different type of messages. One message, suppose it is related to device registration, so we are going to register the device into the Azure portal. So that will be one type of message. Another type of message can be like alert type of notifications. Another type of message like normal telemetry data. So there can be different type of message. So this message routing, here we can use some filters, filter the message, that we can route these messages based on some built-in endpoint or some custom endpoint. So currently in this video we are going to see about built-in endpoint, that is message events. In the second video I will explain you in depth about the message routing, where I will explain about event hub, service bus topic, service bus queue and blob storage. But in this video I am going to focus only on the built-in endpoint. So that is built-in endpoint that internally uses the event hub. This is built-in, but these all are custom endpoints. So we can customize these all endpoints. And once the message message routing will filter that message and send it to the particular endpoint. And then there can be different listener. They will listen to the message. Suppose one message received to the event hub, so there can be one listener that will process that message. Same thing for built-in endpoint, service bus topic, queue and blob storage. So basically message routing to filter the message based on some conditions. So for that purpose we are using message routing. So now I think we have done with all the theory parts. So now we can proceed with one demo. Let's start. So as part of this demo activity, we are going to perform the following activities. So first step is like create Azure IoT hub from the Azure portal. So we will see how we can create the IoT hub from the Azure portal. So that is the first step. Second step is to create a new device. So once our IoT hub is ready, so we can create different devices. So we will see how we can create one device and register that device into the IoT hub. And once the device is registered, we can send some data using the device credentials. So what we are going to do as a third step, create a simulator to send the data to the IoT hub. So actually we are not going to use the real IoT devices here. So instead of that, I have created one simulator application that will send some data. So simulator is basically a software program that will send some telemetry data to the Azure IoT hub. So we don't have actual IoT devices. So I have created one simulator. If we have the actual IoT devices, that step we can skip and configure that device to send that data to the IoT hub. And then once the simulator is sending data to IoT hub, then we can receive the data default endpoint. So we have different message out correct demo. We are going to see how we can receive the data from the default endpoint. Now, what is the name of that default endpoint? Messages event. And finally we will create one function to process the data. So that will receive some data from the simulator. So what the application we are going to see it here. There will be one simulator. That simulator will send some data to the IoT hub. We will create one function app to process that data, and we'll see how the device is sending data and how the function is consuming that data. So now let's start with the Azure portal. So now I will move to the Azure portal and we'll show you how easily we can create an Azure IoT hub. It's so easy. Let's start. So I will use portal.azure.com. and it will ask for my credentials, so I will provide my username password here. So after providing my username and password, now I am into the Azure portal. Now I am going to create one resource group, and then I will create a Azure IoT Hub. So let's start with the resource group. So this is basically a container. So first what I am going to do, I am going to create one resource group. So this is my subscription name, and resource group name I can provide anything. So suppose I am going to provide Hello Purifier hyphen RG for RG resource group. So what is my resource group name? Hello Purifier RG. So region I can select, I am in India region, so I will select Central India. Then I will create the resource group. So first it has created one resource group. So now I am going to create one IoT hub. So what I will do, I will create on add, or I can go to here also, and from the marketplace I can search for IoT. So this is IoT hub. So I will select IoT hub, and this is the logo, and then I need to create. Okay, so this is asking for my subscription group, and this is asking for resource group. So I can use my existing resource group, or I can create new from here also. And this is the region where I want to deploy the IoT hub. So I am in India region, so I have selected India, and this is the name of the IoT hub. Name of the IoT hub, Hello IoT. Let's see, it is available on, it's available, Hello Purifier IoT. So this is the name of the IoT hub. Second, next, connectivity. So connectivity, currently public endpoint, all network can access this endpoint, or if you have selected IP range, then we can select and specify the selected IP range, or if we have our private network, then we can select this one and set. So as of now I am selecting the default endpoint. Next, size. So there are different pricing tier. So basically there are two type of tier, standard and basic. So we will see what is standard and basic. So if you are going with the standard S1 tier, so what all benefit we are getting, you can see it here. So pricing S1, so messages per day, that means we can send 4 lakh messages per day. Okay, and cost per month, that will be 1652 rupees. And Azure Security Center, I don't want that. And this is the device to cloud message enable, message routing is enabled. So if you are going with standard tier, so we can use this device to cloud, message routing, cloud to device, outage and device, all things we can use. But if you are going with the basic tier, see, device to cloud message enable and message routing. Apart from this, cloud to device commands, outage and device management, these all are not available in the basic tier. So this is the difference, and even you can see these rates will vary, and even Azure Security Center is not enabled for this basic tier. So we will go with standard S1 tier. And if you are going with S2 tier, all things will be same, only this message per day will increase. If you are going with S3 tier, so again it will increase from, see, these many messages we can send per day. So based on the requirement, how many messages we want to send per day, we can go with S1, S2, S3, or B1, B2, B3. So I am going with S1 tier. Then I will go for tags, review. So all things by default I am repeated and then create. So it will take almost 1 and 2 minutes to create this IoT hub. So it's so simple to create an IoT hub from the Azure portal. So just we need to provide some basic information, and based on that it will create an IoT hub. So it will take 2-3 minutes to create the IoT hub. So you can see it from here, deployment in progress. To the notification section, it will show like deployment succeeded. And now I am going to the resource. So see, this is our IoT hub. So now it has been created successfully. And what is the host name for this IoT Hub hello free-fire-iot.azure.devices.net. So that's why this name need to globally unique. And here we can see this is standard and IoT Hub and all the basic detail of the IoT Hub. It will show it here. So second task was to register and device to the IoT Hub. So if you go to the Explorer section, so you will find it IoT devices here. Okay, so I will go to this IoT device, and here it will show our all devices here. Below in the below section, it will show the list of all the devices available. So I am going to register one new device. So I will go on add and device ID. So that is the unique ID of the device. So I can provide anything here. So suppose my device is first purifier. It can be anything. So I've just provided my first purifier, that is the device ID, and authentication type. So I am going to select symmetric key. Apart from symmetric key, we can use X509 self signed and X509 CA signed. So I will create one separate video about the security. So in that security section, I will explain you about X509 self signed and X509 CA signed. So for time being, I am going to use the symmetric key. Authentication type symmetric key. So here it will provide one key. So that key we need to use while communicating with the particular device. So connect with the auto generate key, correct, and connect device to the IoT Hub. That must be enabled. So this device will connect to the IoT Hub, and parent device we are not going to use as of now, and I will create on save. So creating a device is so easy. So now see, you can say create a device. My first purifier successfully created, and if I will refresh it here, so it will show device ID enable. And similarly I can create, I'm going to create my second device. My second device symmetric key and will create. So I have created two devices, my first purifier and my second device. Like way I can create different devices. Okay, and now let's go through. So see, if I am going to my first purifier, so it will show me the connection string that is required to connect to the device. So this is device ID, this is the primary key. So you can see it here. So this is the key that has been generated to connect with this device. So if we are going to use this device, we need this key, this is secondary key, and this is the connection string. So what is the connection? That host name. So host name is what is the IoT Hub basically name. So this is the host name, and then device ID and shared access key. So this is the complete connection string for the device. So if you are talking about device connection string, so it consists of three components: host name and device ID and shared access key. So what is this shared access key? Shared access key is the primary key. Okay, and device ID, the ID of the device, and host name, the host name of the IoT Hub. Similarly, we can have the secondary ID key. So if you are thinking that this primary key has been compromised, then we can regenerate it, and we can use the secondary key. So this is the one thing. Same thing for my second device also. So if you go to my second device, so in second device also have the device ID, and we can show it from here. This is the SAS key or primary key, and if you go to the connection string, host name will be same, device ID will be the ID of this device, and shared access key, that is the shared access key. So what is the connection string for any device? So it consists of basically three information. First is host name, second is device ID, and third is shared access key. So now move to the same thing. If you want to connect with the IoT Hub, so IoT Hub also we have some shared access policy. So if you go to shared access policy of IoT Hub, we can see IoT Hub owner. So this is the owner, that means he can do anything, like he can registry read, registry write, service connect, and device connect. He can do all the operations. And we have similarly we have service IoT Hub. So if you go with the IoT Hub connection string, so it will show you the primary key. So again, it is a SAS key or primary key, and connection string. What will be the connection string? Same host name. So I will let me copy and will show you. So what is the connection to IoT Hub? This is the connection to host name same and shared access key name and shared access key. So this is the connection string for IoT Hub. So when we are going to register new device from the portal, these all information not required, but when we are going to register a new device programmatically, then this all information required, this IoT Hub details. So what is the owner and shared access key and host name, these all details are required. So that's it. So yeah, simply we have created, and now I will show you endpoint. So built-in endpoint. Okay, so this is the built-in endpoint. It is loading. So this is built-in Event Hub compatible endpoint. So internally it is using Event Hub. So what is the name? Event Hub compatible. This is the name. And if you go to the connection endpoint, so this is the connection endpoint to communicate with this built-in endpoint. Okay, we are going to use this endpoint, and in the later video we will go to the message routing section and we will see how we can create different endpoints, our custom endpoints. So we will see it in the later video. So that's it. We have created our first IoT Hub and we have registered device into the IoT Hub. Till now what we have done, we have created an Azure IoT Hub from the Azure portal, and we have created 2 devices into the Azure IoT Hub. So our next task is to create a simulator to send the data to the IoT Hub. So now I am going to create one simulator. So I am going to use Visual Studio 2019 because Visual Studio 2019 has more support for Azure development. So let's start with Visual Studio. So I am going to use Visual Studio. I am going to create one console application. So I will create new project. I will search for console application. So I will search for console. I am going to use .NET Framework. Then console. I will specify the name of the project here. So what is the name? I am going to go device simulator. So device simulator. This is location, framework. Then I will create. It will create one console application using .NET Framework version 4.7.2. This simulator need to communicate with the IoT Hub. So for that we need one library, that is Microsoft.azure.devices.client. So I will go to the manage NuGet package. I will search for Microsoft.azure.devices. So I need this client, Microsoft.azure.devices.client library. So I will click on install. So now it is going to install this library. So Microsoft.azure.devices.client. Yes, so now the installation of the NuGet package Microsoft.azure.devices.client is done, completed. So if you go to the package.config, you can see, like, apart from Microsoft.devices.client, so it has installed several other libraries that are dependent on this. This is our main library, but these all libraries are dependent on this one. So it has installed all the dependency as well. And now I am going to write some line of code. So I already written it in the notepad. So I will copy and paste it here, and I will explain it in just a second. So this device client is in the Microsoft Azure devices.client library. So I will JSON convert Newtonsoft library. So I need to use all these libraries. That's it. So basically we are going to use this library for communicating with IoT device and Newtonsoft. So I will build it. Yes, our application is building successfully. So you can see it here, 1 success, 0 fail, 0 escape. So I will explain you what I have written the code for the simulator. You need to provide the IoT Hub host name and then device key and device ID. From where we can find it? from the Azure portal. So already explained you what is host name of the Azure IoT Hub. So I will go to my IoT Hub, and this is my IoT Hub. Okay, in the overview section. So this is the host name. So I will copy it here and will paste it here. This is our host name. Then device key and device ID. So what is our device key? So I will go to the IoT devices, and then so suppose I am taking my first purifier. This is my device ID and device key. So this is my device ID. I will copy it here. I will copy it and I will paste it. What is the device ID? This is my device ID. And what is the device key? So this is the primary key. So I will copy it from here and I will paste it here. That's it. Only 3 configuration I need here. So first one is host name, second one is device key, third one is device ID, and this all information we can find it from the Azure portal. So easy. So this is our main program. So inside main we need to create an object for the device client object. So this is the device client. So I am going to create device client.create. So this is the URI. So what is that? Our host name. So what is the URI for our IoT Hub or host name? And then we need to provide device authentication with symmetric key, because we have used symmetric key. So this is the device ID and device key, and then this is the protocol, by which protocol we are going to communicate with. Their different protocol. So AMQP, AMQTT. So basically we are using AMQTT. I'll explain in different video about the different protocols supported by Azure IoT Hub. Okay. So as of now I am using MQTT, and then I created one method, send device to cloud message async. So using this simulator I am going to send this data to the IoT Hub. So what is this telemetry data? So the data that we are going to send from the simulator to the IoT Hub. So that is telemetry data. So what we are going to device ID, temperature, and what is the filter status, what is the motor status, and what is the water usage of the water. We can add some more parameters here, but I have used these parameters for 5 parameters. That parameter it will send. So for now I have created some random number. TDS I have created a random number between 10 to 1000. So this will be the TDS value and filter status. So if TDS, so I have provided one simple condition, but in real scenario it will be not like that. So just to change the data, I have provided different conditions. If the TDS value is divisible by 2, then it will be condition will be good, otherwise bad. And water usage will be between 0 to 500, any random number between 0 to 500. And current temperature will be minus 30 to 100 degree. And motor status, current temperature is greater equal to 50, then it will be good, otherwise bad. So I have created some dummy or random variables. So now I have created one JSON packet. So I have created some random value and pass it to the JSON. That's it here. So this is the device ID. What are the device ID that is going to send, and then temperature, filter, motor, TDS level, and then I am going to select this JSON, and then I'm creating a message object, and then I'm adding this property. So property later on when we are going to discuss about the message outing, we can add our custom property using topics and all the things, but as of now we can leave it in the device client.send async. So this is the device client send event message will send this message to the particular device. Okay, and then we are saying, and suppose I am sending this data every 5 seconds. So I have make a delay of 5 seconds. Now I am going to run this application. So easy. Now our simulator program is ready. It will generate data every 5 seconds. Let's see how this simulator is working. So it is, see, device simulator started. So simulator started, it will generate, it will connect with the IoT Hub and see it's sending data. So the first data what is sent, my first purifier temperature 5, filter good, motor bad, usage 199 liter, TDS 194. Second message device are the same, temperature was 71, filter. So it is randomly generating some data, and it is sending to the IoT hub every 5 seconds. So we can configure it for every 1 second, 10 seconds, based on the requirement, every 1 hour, half an hour, like that. So now my simulator is running and it is pushing data every 5 seconds. So now how can we be confident that this data is reaching to the IoT hub? So if you go to the Azure portal, Azure IoT hub, and if you go to the overview section, so you can find it from here. Telemetry message, and it is showing so it will take up to 5 minutes to show it here. The data will show it here. I will pause this video for 5 minutes, and once I will come back, so it will show some data. Yes, so now I will do a refresh it here. So it must show the data here, so we can see it. So I can apply the filter here, so currently it is showing 1 day of data, so I will make it to 1 hour, last 1 hour. Now it will show the last 1 hour data. So number of messages, you can see it here, how many messages we have used in the last 1 hour. 22 message. Device to cloud message, so our simulator is sending some message to cloud, right? This graph is not real time graph. We can see it from here that our device is sending some data, so our simulator is still running. So if you now move to the PowerPoint slide, so what we have done, we have created IoT hub, create a new device, create a simulator, send data to the IoT hub. So our simulator is ready. So now I'm going to stop this simulator. So I have already sent sufficient number of messages to the IoT hub. So I have stopped that simulator, and now I'm going to create one Azure function that read data from the Azure IoT hub. So now I'm going to create one Azure function. Now I will create one function app. The function will read that data from the IoT hub and process that data. So as part of this POC, we are not going to perform any operation on the data received. We will just write into the console or log files. So I will go home, create one resource. I will search for function app, go to create. So this is my subscription. I will select the resource group name, then function name, Free Fire, hello Free Fire function. I am not going to use Docker, so I will use the code. So what all framework we are going to use, .NET, Node, is support Java, all the framework. I am going to use .NET Core. Region, I am going to use EastUS. Next, hosting. So see, we need to have one storage account to run this function, because function app internally uses some triggers and logs, generate some logs file. For that purpose, we need one storage account. See, it is by default creating one storage account, or we can create one storage account from here as well. So I am creating one storage account. So hello Free Fire. It will create one storage account with the name Hello Free Fire Storage. So I am going to create one storage account. What operating system we are going to use, Linux or Windows. I am going with Windows. Consumption plus serverless or premium. So I am going with serverless. Monitoring. So application insight, yes, we want to track all the logs information. So I need application insight. So application insight basically used to trace all the events and logs that the application generating. So I am going to use this application insight. So application insight, I don't have any, so I am going to create one new application insight. So what will the application insight? Hello application insight, AI application insights. Okay, I have selected the region. Next, tag, I don't need anything. Then review and create, and then create. Deployment of the function app is in progress. Take a while to deploy the function app. Now you can see in the notification bar that the deployment of the function app is success. So if I go to my resource group, you can say that the function app has been created And our IoT Hub is also ready. Apart from that, we have created a storage account as well. It will internally create one app service plan. So this app service plan, and this is our application inside. So now let's move to the function app. Our function app is running. Now I will switch to the Visual Studio to create one function app. Okay, so I have started my Visual Studio 2019. I will create a new project. I will search for function. Here I will search for function, Azure function. Okay, so I will select here. I will specify the name of the project. Suppose I will specify the project name is Hello Purifier. Hello Purifier. This is our project name. Click on create. Now we need to select the event. Which type of function we are going to select. Here you can say that earlier there was Azure function version 1, so that was based on .NET framework. But after that they released version 2 and version 3. So version 2 and version 3 has support for .NET Core, and they don't have support for .NET framework. So I'm going with the version 3. That's why while creating the function app, I have selected the framework as .NET Core, not .NET framework. So I'm going with Azure function version 3 .NET Core. And since we are going to use the built-in endpoint, so that built-in endpoint is basically event hub compatible endpoint. So I am going to use event hub trigger. This trigger, event hub trigger endpoint, I am going to use. Apart from this trigger, there are lots of different triggers: service bus topic, service bus queue, timer, IoT hub trigger. So I am going to use this event hub trigger. Simply click on create. So it will create the function app. Yes, so our function app, it will show the page like this. So our function app has been created. So I will just go and build it. So go and rebuild. So it will build the application. Yes, our first function is successfully built. So what now I am going to do, I am going to remove this function1.cs file, add one more file. So add new Azure function. Okay, Azure function, what will be the name of the name I am going to adjust? Hello Purifier telemetry. So it will send some trigger telemetry data, process the telemetry data. So that's why I have mentioned it as Hello Purifier telemetry. And then this is event hub trigger, same connection string name that I will left it blank here. Okay, see now our first function Hello Purifier is ready. So here, like, this is the name of our Azure function and event hub trigger. So by default we are going to use the built-in endpoint. So built-in name was like messages/event. So we are going to use that built-in endpoint event hub trigger name. Okay, and connection. So here we need to specify the endpoint connection name. So I will go to our IoT hub. So I will go here, IoT hub, then built-in endpoint. So this is our built-in endpoint. I will copy the event hub compatible endpoint. So I will copy here. So now I will move to our connection. So instead of using the connection string directly here, I will go config file. So now I will use here. So this is the connection string I copied from the Azure portal, and I will name it as event of default connection and will pass the connection name here. That's it. It's so easy. So now I will rebuild this application. Yes, success. So now I will explain you. I will little bit zoom it. I will minimize this. So this is the function name. And this is the basically event trigger. So here we need to specify the event name. So we are going to use the default one. So for that the default name is message/event. Then again we need to specify the event of default connection string. So I have specified this value in the config local setting.json. Inside that I have provided a endpoint detail and what all parameters expect. So event of data and logs. So this will pull all the event of data, and this object is used to log the log file. I'm not going to touch anything inside this. These are all by default code. So here we can, as you can see it here, event data in events. So this is what is our event. So it is an array of event data. Okay. So what all event are generated by the event hub, we are getting in the events objects. So we are fetching 1v1. So inside event data we can get the body, then offset, and this is the message body basically. So how we can fetch the message body from the event hub? So it have to get a string and we need to provide this parameter. So in the string format it will return the body. That means what are the message we are getting from the event hub, and then in this we are writing this log into the console, nothing else. Okay, so actual we can receive the message here and we can process that message and we can do some complex calculation, and then we can push it into the Cosmos DB or SQL or whatever operation we want to perform, we can do it here. So for time being I have just read the event from the event hub and log into the console. That's it. Now our Azure function is ready. It's so easy, correct? So now I am going to publish this Azure function into the Azure. So for that purpose I need to go to the function app. So I will go to the function app. Here you can say like get publish profile. So I will download the publish profile and will publish using the publish profile. So click on get publish profile. It has downloaded our publish profile. So now I am going to publish this function app. So I will click on publish. Then I will select here import. So I am going to import profile setting, and here I need to select the publish profile settings. So I will go to the download section, hello purifier. So I will click on finish. Yes. So all things are ready. So I will click on publish here. So it will publish the file to the web app. As you can see in the output window that publish succeeded. So yes, finally we have published our first Azure function. So let's move to the Azure portal and let's see what is the behavior of our Azure function. So I will go to my Azure function and we'll go to the function section. So it will show up here. Yes, this is our function. You can say like what was our function, hello purifier telemetry, it was what was type of trigger, event hub, and this is enabled. So as part of the demo, we are done with all the steps. So we have created Azure IoT Hub from the Azure portal. That is done. Create a new device. So we already have created 2 devices. So that is also done. Create a simulator to send the data to the IoT Hub. We have created simulator application that is used to send the data to the IoT Hub. That is also done. So receive the data to the default endpoint. We have created a function using the default endpoint. So that is also done, and create a function to process the data. So we have created one Azure function to process the data. Actually it is not processing, but it will write the message into a console. So as part of our demo, we have done with all the steps. So now our simulator program is running. So as you can see it from the here, that our simulator program is running. Okay, so it is pushing data to the IoT Hub. Now I will move to the IoT Hub and will show you that my function is receiving the data or not. So let me go to my function. This is my Azure function. So yes, here function, and if I will click on my Azure function, so in the developer section there is one option, monitor. So if I click on monitor, so it will show me all the messages that we are receiving from the IoT Hub. So see here, its success count is 212 last 30 days. That means in the last 30 days we have received 212 messages. So it will show all the messages that we have received in this function. Okay, so I can click on, at this time we have received this function, so I will click on any of the message. So it will show me, see here. So this is the actual message. So it is showing my device ID, correct temperature, and filter, motor status, usage, and TDS level. So what all information we are sending it from the simulator, we are receiving it on the Azure IoT Hub. That means our IoT Hub is receiving the data from the simulator, and the function is consuming that data using the default or built-in endpoint, message/event. That is the built-in endpoint or default endpoint. So I think we have done with our first IoT Hub application. So that is sending some data. So from this diagram, so this is our device, actual device. So instead of having this actual device, what we are using in this demo, so we have used one simulator. So our simulator is C# console application that is sending some data to the IoT Hub. You can think of this device as a simulator. Okay, so currently in this application we are using simulator. So our simulator is sending some data to the Azure IoT Hub. Okay, and from this Azure IoT Hub we have created one functions. So that function is consuming that data from the IoT Hub and writing that message on a console. So as part of this application, we have just provided a simple application to show the flow of the data, how the data is flowing from the device to the function using IoT Hub. So the source code for this application, we have created basically 2 applications. One is device simulator and one is function app. So both the source code I have placed it in the GitHub. So what is the URL? github.com/cloudwala/IoT-wala. If you go on this URL, you will find the source code of this application. So see, this is my URL, github.com/IoT-cloudwala. So here I have placed 2 folders. So inside the device simulator, we have the code for simulator application, that is a console application, and this is Hello Purify Out function app. So you can download it from here and test it. It was just an introductory video of IoT Hub. I hope you enjoyed IoT Hub, and we will see you in the next video about message routing. I will see you in the next video for message routing. Till then, happy learning. Have a good day. Bye.